open mind. Because if you are closed, like in the example with my girlfriend criticizing me, I'm not open to that criticism. Probably there is something in it, but I just react, I just download, so I'm not open. But if I manage to be mindful, if I manage to be open and aware, then I'm here. Then the next part is sensing. This is when we just feel ourselves into the problem. Maybe we do things like art or dance or drawing or poetry about it. And here we kind of move down into the space of an open heart. And then here we enter into another stage after using our intuition to understand it. We just move into the bottom of the U, and here we let go, letting go. We let go of the whole thing altogether. And that's really a very crucial part of that learning process, and it's characterized with it's called presencing. So you just become really present. You stop thinking about it, you stop studying about it, you just become totally present in the here and now, and in doing that you kind of connect to the greater intelligence, you connect to the source, to the intelligence that runs through all life. In a way, it's moving out towards here, becoming completely still. And we know from many great inventors or discoveries that that's exactly what happened to them. For example, if you look at Albert Einstein, he was working on his relativity theory, and he tried super hard to figure it out. He was sitting in his little room on his wooden table with his candle, and he was putting his mind to it and mind to it and mind to it, and he just couldn't get it. And at some point, in his autobiography, he describes how he just gave up. And just in that moment of giving up, he had the insight, he had the flash. He became completely empty, and because he was totally empty in his mind, something new could come in. He wasn't anywhere in his memory anymore. He just gave up. I think the same happened, for example, to the Buddha when he was trying to find a way to end suffering, when he was on his journey to enlightenment. We don't know exactly if he ever existed, but he apparently, after 7 years of trying everything, meditation and asceticism, it's a difficult word, he came to a point where he just gave up. He just couldn't find the solution. He couldn't find the answer. And just in that moment where he completely gave up, where he was completely empty, boom, something new could come in, and he had a really deep insight, and that was it for him. Then after presencing, we start to move up the U, and the first step here is crystallizing. So out of this state of presence, the state of total emptiness, comes some kind of a intuition, some kind of a idea emerges. You still don't really know what it is, but you have some direction, and you start to in the next phase after the crystallizing, you start to prototype. So you run fast cycles of trying it out again, modifying it, and then after the prototyping something emerges and you just start to embody the new understanding, or you come out with a new technology or whatever it is you were working on here. So there are a few practices, I think, that we do with you here on the course, some of them. So here, to get into here, it's really about developing a different kind of consciousness, the ability to suspend, which is mindfulness practice. Things like walking consciously, breathing consciously, whatever strengthens the seed of experiential presence. Then here at this stage it is things like, as I mentioned before, dialogue, deep listening, for example, is part of dialogue, appreciating different perspectives, even if you don't agree with them, you look at them. Then study, reading, then here it's artful knowing, it's this more intuitive part, it's engaging with the problem in different ways that are more on the level of heart. And down here in the presencing, I think it's things like meditation, stillness, for example the solo, sport, play, the flow experience. One of your mates, Lars, he said, laughing, for example, to have a really great laugh is a wonderful way to completely empty your mind, humor. So there are all these practices that I think have a lot to do with sports and physical education as well. As you enter into the presence, you enter into a really wild place, into a place that's not cultivated. You leave your cultivated mind or your ideas away, and you go into something new, into something unknown. You go into adventure. And this here relates to your IQ, so your intelligence. This here is your EQ, your emotional intelligence. And this stage of the U, and this here is called spiritual intelligence. I would like to end, and then you can ask some questions, with a quote of a guy I just talked about, of Albert Einstein. And Einstein said that a human being is part of this whole, called by us universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thought and his feelings as something separate from the rest. It's a kind of optical delusion of consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desire and to a portion for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion, to embrace all living creature and the whole of nature in its beauty. That's what Einstein said. Oh, pretty nice, wise words. Although he himself had a lot of problems but he had a really deep insight as well, I think. Yeah.